Another super smooth pit stop that time. Jackie Stewart now with an analysis of that pit stop.
Jim, the congestion that was just experienced in pit lane is synonymous with the kind of complications that can occur in any pit lane. But here in Indianapolis, where so many cars are going so quickly, obviously it's an extra trouble. Now, Tom Sneaver came into the pits just a short while ago. He was coming in, and at the same time, Joseli Garza's car was being pushed off the gasoline alley. He was going to pass him on the inside and suddenly realized his own teammate, Kevin Cogan, was in the pit in front of him. So he went round the other side, drew into the pits to have his work done. Kevin Cogan, in the meantime, was ending his pit stop. Pulled out, as you'll see, being pushed away and helped, and at that time, as he accelerated away, I think it's Jeff Brabham there, came down and almost collided with him. Now that, of course, could have set up a very serious chain of circumstances. Now, safety is, of course, major importance to me, and we have to keep safety in pit lane as well as on the racetrack. However, here in Indianapolis, much is always done each year to upgrade the track to make it safer. In pit lane, for example, a new gutter has been introduced to be able to wash away more easily excess fuel with water to try and avoid fire. The pit wall on the outside next to the racetrack was raised a few years ago. But I've always been very interested in safety. And earlier this month of May, I went out on the racetrack to see what perhaps could be done to make this speedway even safer. Here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in years gone by, I've been more than generous with my praise for the safety precautions taken here, for the personnel and equipment that deals with emergency if they do occur. However, motor racing will never be safe, and here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the speeds are so high, accidents such as this can occur. In 1975, Tom Sneaver came in contact with another car close to turn 2. Pay attention how high the race car goes. The engine and transmission went for more than 200 yards. They could easily have reached the crowd without a debris fence. And then another accident, this time with Johnny Rutherford in 1981 at Phoenix. Incidentally, neither of the two drivers in those accidents were seriously injured. But again, pay attention at what happens in the accident, how high the race car goes. If an accident were to occur, such as you've just seen, on this main stretch at Indy, where speeds of 200 miles an hour plus are achieved, it's easy to recognize that a wall of this height here would simply not be enough to retain such an accident. Keep in mind, on race day, hundreds of pit crew, and just beyond them, fuel tanks, and behind them, an enormous number of spectators, thousands of them. In my opinion, what we require here is a debris fence, right up here, similar to what you would see on the outside of the racetrack. Only then do I feel that the sort of accident that can surely occur could be properly retained. Another area for my concern is pit lane. I'm now standing at the entrance of pit lane, and the cars would be coming off turn 4 at about, 150 to 160 miles an hour at this spot here. Now, it's not exactly a billiard table surface, as can be seen by the scores on the road here caused by these cars at that speed. The cars can get, as you can see, quite unstable. Now, pit lane itself is less than 50 feet wide. If a car were to come into this situation and have a coming together with another car, as occurred last year with Rick Mears, who knows that the cars could not get into the air and really do some great damage. Because remember, those race cars can be almost classed as aircraft accidents when something goes wrong. They're holding fuel, and of course the hazards that I spoke of earlier are all there. I suppose ideally what I would want is more space between the pit inside wall and this fence protecting the spectators. Then I would want this fence here to be much higher, actually a debris fence, because if something big were to occur, you would have to protect those spectators. Now, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has an enormously good record for safety and, above all, for the protection of spectators. But it would be wrong, as I said at the beginning of this piece, to bury our heads in the sand. What we have to do is have preventive medicine. Before an accident takes place, we should look after what should be done. It's no good closing the gate after the cows have gone out.
Jackie Stewart, who's been a safety crusader ever since his racing days as world champion of Formula One. Here's Bobby Rahal into the pits.
Bouncing down that pit lane. You know, Jim, I buy everything Jackie said about the safety in spades. Jackie's a very wealthy man. Maybe he should donate those conditions to the Speedway. What do you think? The area that I disagree with him, though, at the opening he said he thought the speeds ought to be slowed. Really, I see a day when drivers will lap this place at 250 miles an hour or more, and I don't think it's that far away.
Okay, pretty good. Whoops.
Oh.
Got to say, a good pit stop, but something's happened there. Pulling him back.
Well, it's been stalled. It's been stalled.
Oh, dear.
Now,
driver's nightmare, huh?
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard to restart one of these hot turbo engines. See him spraying in there. That's an effort to help restart it. But poor Rahal, you can imagine the frustration at this point. Jim, this is terrible. This could be, you know, you just have no idea how much of a delay this is. I don't know why he stalled it. He could have had a problem with the clutch. That's typical with these things.
Now the push start, still not going. Yeah, he's going, but very slowly.
That's a lap.
Oh,
roughly,
my goodness.
that he
Lost
just lost,
a full
I
lap.
believe. Yeah.
Man who had been leading the Indianapolis 500.
Was he shaking his head there in frustration? I think he was.
So now Al Unser is back in first place in his car number 7, racing for the Roger Penske team. Then Sneva, Mears, Howdy Holmes, and Mike Mosley. So the racing goes on. Lap 75 of 200 has been completed. I don't know how much popcorn they sell here, but it should be enough to keep the state of Iowa prosperous for the rest of the summer, I think.
Oh, boy. That's good.
Stay with us. Into the pits comes Al Unser, who has been the leader most recently of the Indianapolis 500. There's the fuel, big fuel hose.
That's the problem, of course, that Bobby had. Look at that fuel area there. I probably misspoke myself when I said it was a crew problem. It was probably a problem of the nozzle instead.
You're talking about the Bobby incident a while ago. No incident here.
No, everything goes fine.
Little chassis adjustment.
Shock absorber, right front shock absorber. It's the sort of thing that would take you probably a couple of $100 if you wanted to do it at home. You'd have to change the whole thing.
Okay, 26.9 on the time for that, and Tom Sneva retakes the lead. At the moment, turning into a Sneva-Unser back-and-forth story, but Rick Mears is now second after the Unser pit stop. Mosley third, Jeff Brabham fourth, hanging in there. Howdy Holmes in fifth position. Crowd estimated at 400,000 under beautiful skies. Threat of rain early this morning. Looked very bad when we came out here early, but it cleared 45 minutes before race time, and it's been very nice ever since. Even cool enough for the cars, isn't it? Oh, yeah.